Honestly, I don't really know if most of the thoughts I have in a day are my own, or if they're what an algorithm is telling me is fashionable, trending, interesting, funny, or cool. I feel like pixels kind of hold my identity hostage. My taste is shaped by experiences that aren't really my own. But see, I feel like to live chronically offline is to live free. Life is an artifact, a delicate body of memories we have to assemble, not commodify. If we spend all our time inheriting other people's ambitions, desires, and memories, then death becomes the only respite from a life that was never truly ours. See, algorithms convince you of your identity, of your needs, yet they can't replicate a breath of fresh air, a ridge you imagine as a balance beam, exploring with your dad, strangers becoming friends, or a breakfast in the mountains. Many things masquerade as inspiration, but the truth is, it lies only in experience, in active participation with our own reality. Our own originality lives within our friction with the physical world, within letting ourselves be drawn to the highs and lows of human emotions, rather than the safety of a pixelated paradise. Something's always going to shape our identity. When we're young, it's our parents, then this gives way to our teachers, our friends, our job, our education. But through all of this, my mind always felt like home. It was influenced, but it was still mine. Although the phone makes the influence incessant, every moment of respite just becomes a war against an algorithm vying for my attention, influencing this mind that's already weakened by a luring world. See, if everyone is taught how to live, think, and feel at every moment, what is your identity when your phone is no longer there? See, this year I really wanted to create and not consume, to sit in my boredom long enough to see what actually inspires me. I want my taste to be shaped by experiences, to collect memories the way I used to collect the mindless drool of a dopamine-laden world, which doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, hit it.
The last holiday I went on with my family, I left my phone at home. And you don't really realize how much of a crutch your phone is until it's just not there. One morning I woke up at 5 a.m. and rather than grasping for a gateway from my half-asleep reality to see what I could possibly miss out on seeing at 5 a.m., I just walked to a park I hadn't been to before. And something kind of weird happened after that, because I really just kept walking. I was free to let my curiosity guide me, rather than this little technological leech tugging at my attention. I didn't think I had anywhere better to be because I wasn't inundated with other people's experiences taking away from the exact moment I was in. Here, each wave takes nothing, although as the tide returns again and again, small pieces of rock slowly waste away. And so too is each scroll seldom felt, yet as we exit our dip into the artificial ocean, a tiny piece of us is left behind. But we don't notice it, because a piece of what someone else is doing, seeing, or experiencing takes its place. We are eroded. Silence is confronting because it's only then that we realize there's nothing left to imitate. Wouldn't it be nice to curate a life worth living? Look, I always thought that curation was this thing reserved for social media, this kind of mechanism to portray our own lives in a way that other people are envious of, that they can strive towards. But really, this just creates a life that's a collection of other people's thoughts, ideas, and perceptions. We have no autonomy over our own life when we're simply living as an accessory to someone else's. So how do we curate our own life? Well, the emphasis should really be on curating for oneself. If you only read the books that everyone else is reading, you can only think what everyone else is thinking. Look, an algorithm only reiterates what already exists. It feeds you more of what you know, more of what is popular, more of what is safe. But when you live in an algorithmic echo chamber, you're left to reside in this world made up of other people's decisions. But see, when you take the initiative to have your own experiences, when you take the initiative to choose physical stimulus like books, art, new music, it's only then that our thoughts begin to resemble any sort of idiosyncrasy. Because not only have we challenged our own thoughts, we haven't relied on someone else to feed us our own reality. Look, we must consume with caution, because if we don't, we miss this whole life out there that's just dying to be lived. Honestly, my 20s confused me about so many things, but one thing that I know for sure is that spending time with my family, no matter how much they annoy me sometimes, is something that I will just never regret. And whether that comes in the form of dinners, riding motorbikes with my dad, backpacking with him overseas, or slow family walks, or enjoying my family dinners, watching them try to cook, even though my dad's never cooked before. That kind of love, those kind of experiences are something that an algorithm can never replicate. And you've experienced that, and I'm showing you in this video the times where I have experienced that. And there's so many more moments like that that live purely in my own mind. And it's those moments that stay with you that don't necessarily need to be shared on social media or shared in a format like this, that truly stay with you for the rest of your life. And I think it's those moments that show us that the consumption of material by other people online, or even you watching a video like this on YouTube, is something that is nice, it's entertaining, it's something to watch, it's something to cure our boredom. But the truth is, it is no supplement for genuinely experiencing life in all of its forms. And an algorithm just can't facilitate that kind of love. Look, our desire to consume is a Sisyphean struggle, a repetitive act. There is always more to consume, but we seldom notice this, because unlike Sisyphus, no matter how much you consume, the top of the hill never exists. There is always another video, another news day, another song. There exists few moments where the stone falls down and you realize your 4 hours of screen time is a futile, completely pointless act. And maybe watching this video is one of those moments. To me, this kind of modern propensity towards social media is what Jung calls the shadow self. He says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But wielding this awareness arms us with the knowledge to act, giving us autonomy over the life that we want to live, and what influences us every single day. Look, Nietzsche says one must have chaos in order to give birth to a dancing star. The truth is, it's not that we don't have a lot of time, it's just that we let this chaos take over. And I feel like to make this conscious is to win by watching a video like this, or just acknowledging our own desire to be like others, our desire to please others, and ultimately our desire to live a life like others. I feel like this is really the first step in taking over autonomy in your own life and taking ownership in how those hours are spent, how those days are spent, and ultimately how your whole life is spent. And this is what helps us truly realize that a life chronically offline isn't just one of a number of different trending ways to live that you've seen online or you've seen some influencers do. It's actually the only genuine way to live as an active participant in your own reality. Otherwise, you'll get to the end of a week, a month, a year, and it will have flown by and you will have realized, I've just lived a life that is in pursuit of someone else's desires, experiences, and what they think of the world. Thank you for watching. Once again, I don't know whether I would call this a vlog. I haven't posted in a while, but I'm hoping to change that. So thank you very much for watching. And I mean, if you've made it this far in the video and you haven't subscribed, like, what are you doing? Because if you watched all of this video, chances are you're probably going to want to watch the next ones. Yeah, and they'll probably be better. So stay tuned.